Hey guys, as you can see, I'm on the way, finally. I'm in Munich airport right now and waiting for my flight to Istanbul. I know this last few months been crazy, we've been stuck at home, but finally things are getting better here, at least in Europe. So I have decided to give a chance and do what I wanted to do for a long time. I have been planning to travel like this for 6 months, maybe 7 months already, and the last trip I had was in January. And this is another thing which is crazy. This airport, Munich, like normally there's a million people in this airport like every day. They're either transit or they're arriving and leaving, but now it's so empty, and I have actually chance to talk like this to the camera without people and without noises around me. And I remember actually before Corona situation last year, it was like if you wanted to go from one gate to another, I was running and there was like no chance that you don't hit anybody on the way. If I was running and hurrying, it was like 10-15 people on the way. I would just bumping around and like dragging your bag behind you. But right now it's so empty, so quiet, and also most of the businesses, especially the restaurants, they're just closed. I think that makes sense because they just want to don't lose money, and it makes more sense actually just close it down and wait for a better situation. The whole airport experience was fine. I mean, at least so far. I haven't been at the airplane yet, but I'm sure it's gonna be smooth. So during the check-in there wasn't lines, passport control, nobody almost, and there take some measures like you have to keep the distance, you should have a mask on around people, so just the basics actually. So it wasn't like stressful process. And same for the bus. Actually, I came from Prague to Munich. It was like 5 hours ride, and a similar process. No pressure, no complicated measurements, nothing. It was just like just sit down and have your mask on, and that was it. And also the bus was quite empty as well. Everyone was sitting just alone in a row, so quite nice actually. Again, it's quite sad to see the world this way, but at the same time I enjoy it because you have less stress, more space for yourself, and more time actually. But I was quite afraid today, so I decided to come to airport like 4 hours before. Because I didn't know what will be the process and there might be some problems with the test or whatever. But nothing, and I will see how the process will go when I enter to Turkey, because right now I moved from European Union country to another one, so it was no problems at all. But there shouldn't be problems as well, as long as I know and I have done my research. That was the reason I decided to go to Turkey. And when it comes to my plans, actually, I was planning to go to Southeast Asia in April, end of April. I was planning to be there for at least like 2 months or something like that. Then the corona hit just like 3 weeks before my flights. So that trip was completely cancelled. So I had to stay in Prague for this whole 3-4 months. And then when the things started getting better, I decided, okay, I will do this trip, backpacking trip again, and at least I will try for it. But probably Asia is not really the good idea anymore, at least for the time being. They have really bad situation at the moment, as long as I know, in Indonesia, in Vietnam. They've been out of lockdown, but they don't accept anybody outside the country, like a tourist or for any other reason. So that was the reason I decided, okay, where I can go, and I decided that would be the best fit for me would be Turkey, because they started opening their borders like quite early. It was like 15 June. They had the news that the borders will be open for the tourism. And I had also my personal reasons. One of them is about the culture, the language I know, and also another cheap country which I can stay longer. If I go more expensive country, there's a more chance that I end up my trip faster than I would like it to be. I'm quite excited for this trip. I have actually one-way ticket for the moment, and then depends how the things will go on, and I will see how long I will stay there. And I might also change the country. If I had enough of Turkey, if I can see everything I want to see in a month, possibly I can move to a different country nearby, such as Greece or Albania or other countries. You might be asking, how did I end up actually in Munich, why I didn't fly from Prague to Istanbul directly. Actually, I tried. I bought my ticket for this date, 3rd July, to be flying to Istanbul from Prague, but a few weeks ago, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, they just cancelled my flight because they informed me that their flights actually will start from 16th from Prague, and they just pre-sold it to me, I believe, like 3-4 weeks ago. And then I did my research, and I found out actually Turkish Airlines is flying from other nearby cities, like from Munich, from Vienna, from Frankfurt, and actually in June they were flying like once a day, and starting from this month, from July, they are flying like twice a day. So I decided, okay, then I can take a bus to a different city, and then from there I can fly to Istanbul. So that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Morning, guys. Finally I made it to Istanbul after a long road. I've been on the road like around 21-22 hours. So last night I was completely dead. When I came to Airbnb house, I just decided to sleep and record the rest of the video in the morning. So right now I'm in the Airbnb place. I actually have a very nice view. Let me show you. This is the view. It's so peaceful, and during the night you could see all the city lights. It was just amazing. So let's talk about the flight. My whole flight experience was quite nice actually. There are some new legislations and new rules to follow, but otherwise the whole experience was just fine, and there wasn't many people in the plane. Few things are new. First of all, of course, you should have a mask during the whole flight, which is a little bit annoying. You should have like a mask on for 2-3 hours. But if you would like to fly, if you would like to travel, then that's the way it is. And just for your safety and for other safety, you should have the mask on during the whole flight. And I'm not sure about the other airlines, but Turkish Airlines, they claim that you cannot take big luggage with you to the board. I mean, as a hand baggage, you cannot have more than 4 kilograms. So that's size of like a laptop bag. This is the maximum you can have. Otherwise, you can check in whatever you would like to. I think the goal is to have less people standing on the line and putting their bags on the top, which makes it crowded in the airplane. That's the reason. For your next flight, you should consider it. There's actually another regulation which is quite cool. They don't let you to stand up when the airplane arrives to the airport and start getting your stuff and waiting in the line. So they instructed people that they need to follow the line. That means first rows goes first out, and then line by line everyone gets up and goes. But people in yesterday's flights, they were not following it. They just randomly stand up and take their things and wait in the line. I like the rule, but if we can follow it, that would be very helpful. Not only because of the coronavirus cases, but like in general. If we can just follow this rule, that would be cool, even afterwards. And also we got some kind of a form in the airplane. We had to fill it out. It was about the COVID-19 again. So they took our personal data, name, address, where you come from, and your passport number, where you will be staying in Turkey. So they need to have your records in case something is happening, so they can easily reach you out. So this form, we filled it out in the airplane, but afterwards we handed over with the passport control. And another thing was about the food, which I was quite disappointed, because I love Turkish Airlines food on board. If you ever fly with them, you know that the food can be like really amazing. Even like you get a small portion, but you always have very nice experience. But this time they switched it to the package style, so you get a kind of a bag, and in the bag you have sandwich, some water, and some juice. It was kind of like kids food, and the sandwich didn't have even ham or meat, nothing. It was just like cheese and the bread, so that was kind of like disappointing. But otherwise, I think after a few months we should be back to the normal food and we can enjoy it again. Oh, this was my whole experience traveling from Prague to Munich and from Munich to Istanbul, and hopefully you can learn some tips and some suggestions for your next traveling, for our next flight, I hope, which is very soon. So for now, I will be spending some time in Istanbul, have some lunch. I didn't eat any breakfast today, and then afterwards I will be exploring around. So see you around, and more videos to come. Thank you. Bye bye.